Hey everybody, Zeal Brothers here once again with another video. This one is about Charlottesville. Now, Charlottesville's mayor is stepping down. And I know Virginia is having important elections today. And at the same time as they're having elections for governor, there's other elections going on in municipalities there. And so Charlottesville, if you guys remember, they were in the news about 4 years ago when they had that riot between some of the people on the far right and some of the people on the far left. And there were some people who got killed in those riots. And so it was an issue where race came to the forefront. And they elected a black female mayor. Her name is Nikia Walker. I don't know, black people with these names. All right, so that's her name, Nikia Walker. And she's stepping down, and the reason she's stepping down, and as you go through this article, and I'm going to put a link for the article in the description, but as you go through this article, what you'll see is that this lady, she was very confrontational, and she was constantly interjecting race into the discussion. And she was trying to push this idea of that they need to change their race. And if you look at the makeup of that city, it's a very liberal, left-leaning city. And so they thought that this is what they wanted. But now they're kind of opposed to her because they said she's just too aggressive, she's too in their face, and she can't accomplish change through this. But the article is kind of interesting because there's this constant discussion, this play back and forth between she's talking to the writer, and she's describing her grievances, right? That people didn't want real change, that she couldn't do anything. She's stepping down for her own mental health, that she tried to fight every day, that she's a all take it or leave it kind of person. And she was frustrated by the political process. So you got her perspective, and then you have the perspective of others on the other side saying things like she was just too controversial. We couldn't really get anything done with her. She would never compromise. And then you have some people who are supporting her. And for the large part of the article seems to be quoting mainly women. One of her supporters is this black pastor, female pastor, who supported her and just talking about how people really didn't want to look at the issues of race. And some of the things that she was pushing, like she wanted to create some affordable housing areas in white communities and things like that. So this is just a kind of person that had to step down. And I just want to talk about it from a bigger perspective with just some blunt talk that I can say that maybe other people can't say. And just want to speak to it from a Christian and from a realistic perspective. The first thing is this. Black women have to be careful because you already have a stereotype of being combative and being aggressive. And let's face it, some people think it's ignorant, but they don't say that. So they'll just say you're aggressive or direct. And you have to be careful of that stereotype, because when you walk into a place thinking that you're big and bad, for a lot of you guys, you think that this is some kind of power. And the fear that people feel about it is not power. It is simply they don't want to mess with you and they don't want to bother with you. In my history, I've had a lot of interactions with strong black females. And I think there's a big difference between strong and loud. A strong black female is one who you can discuss with and that she can accept your opinion, and she can sometimes accept that she is wrong. But a loud black female, she will never accept that she's wrong. She will always think that she's the toughest, that she's the baddest, that she's the one who you should listen to. And if you think about it in just a Christian perspective, a lot of these women are trying to take male roles. So when you look at this mayor, and I'm not saying the position of mayor is strictly male, but it is more male than it is female. And when you look at her supporter, who's a pastor of a church, I don't care what you like, and if you don't like this video, or if you want to thumbs it down, or whatever you want to say, but the idea that there's female pastors and that they would call themselves Christians that observe the Bible is laughable, because it's unbiblical. And so what we have are people who will call themselves Christians. And a lot of black people call themselves Christians. But they do everything that is opposite what the Bible teaches. And I don't understand how you can call yourself Christian if you don't observe the Bible. Now, I understand that technically you can be a Christian that way. And you might call yourself a Christian. I don't identify people as Christians who act like that. People who don't identify their Christianity with the things that we see defined in the Bible, to me, that is not a Christian. And so a lot of times what you'll have is these strong black females because they are traditionally Christians. And what do I mean traditionally? They were raised in the church. They know church things. They know church sayings. Their family goes to church. Because of those things, they think they're Christians, and they're really not. They don't have a saving faith in Jesus Christ. They don't feel an allegiance to follow the things from the Bible if they personally disagree with them. A lot of them take their perspectives into the church and try to force the church to fit that mold. And so you have a lot of these ladies who just go out and they're just war hawks and they just go out there fighting all these battles. And they describe themselves in backwards ways if you hear them, because they'll say things like, I have to be tough because I'm the only one out there protecting myself. But the truth of the matter is that's not true. A lot of these women go looking for fights. Then they come back battered and bruised because they're not made for that conflict. A lot of these women will start battles. And it's just funny. A lot of times, whenever we say something on Facebook, me and my brother always comment on this. We could say something on Facebook or we could say something anywhere else or anywhere publicly. The first person that's going to try to check you is always going to be a black female. Always, always, always. Second one is going to be a white female, a Karen. And the whole point is that these ladies, they always trying to check men. Always. It's like they just have to come around. I guarantee you, in response to this video, somebody gonna comment. They can't help it. Even though I'm predicting it, they're gonna do it. And this is just something that happens on a regular basis. These people challenge. And the problem is the political process is not made for that. Now, I know that we have a very divisive politics in this country nowadays. But the truth of the matter is that if you want to accomplish anything, you have to have some sense of compromise. You have to work with people on the other side if you want to accomplish anything. And if you are having all or nothing kind of mentality, politics is not for you. You're never going to get 100% of what you want. Politics has always been a negotiator's game, a manipulator's game too. But this direct charging in, just saying whatever you feel, and you think you're being honest, but what you're really doing is unleashing your emotions on everybody else and making everybody else a victim to what you think every second of the day. This mentality is not helpful. And it speaks to the fact why Times Magazine has said that black people are the most single in the United States and black females are the most single group. It's because you take on masculine characteristics and men aren't attracted to that. And if I'm the one that say it and you don't like that, well, listen, please. I'm saying it so you can save yourself. Your masculine characteristics are not appealing to a straight man. It has nothing to do with anybody being afraid of you or don't respect you or don't think that they can handle you. I heard a lot of people saying that as to why I have a white wife. I don't think I can handle a black woman and all this stuff. And that's really not the issue. But for some of you guys, I don't want to handle you. The reason I didn't want to handle you because you was just too much trouble. You argue too much. I don't want that in my home. I don't want to have to argue every time I think something. I don't want to have to sit back at home and wonder what you going to say next, how you going to try to pick some fight again. My wife doesn't do that. When I have issues and stress, I just sit there and I'm in my silence and I'm in my peace mode. She know to leave me the heck alone. Some of y'all can't leave well enough alone. Some of y'all like poking bears sometimes. And I don't get y'all when y'all do that stuff. It just get me some way. For some of y'all think y'all tough, but y'all glass tough, not metal tough. What am I talking about? Glass tough is you tough until you meet something that's really strong, then you shatter. Now you crying. Now you a victim. Metal tough is you could bend a little bit, but you're not going to break. That's what real toughness is. That's what I am. You can say whatever you want to. It's really not going to hurt my feelings. I really don't give a crap what you think. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to take what you say and try to glean some aspect of truth in it. Now, if you're just straight up ignorant, then I already done ignored you already. And I'm trying to, sometimes I do that too quick and I'm working on that. But the point is that you have to, for your toughness to be for real, there has to be some bend to it. And for this person, there was no bend. The third thing that I have a problem with this article is that when you look at some of the policies that she's pushing, it is really hard for me to see how they will be good for anybody, let alone the black community. And some of these policies, she may see it from a perspective of race, why people wouldn't like it, but it's just a perspective of common sense why somebody else wouldn't like it. And let me just give an example. Let us just say that you want to put low income housing in a rich person's neighborhood. I don't care what color they are, they're going to oppose that. And they say, well, I don't like how they say not in my neighborhood. What? No crap. Nobody wants low income in a high income area. Why? Because it lowers their property values. It don't have anything to do with race. Now, could you say it's selfish? Yeah. But why do we have to have this command down economy? I never understood that. That helps nobody. I never understood why you will want to just force low income people into areas where other people don't want them to be. How is that doing them a favor? If they have housing that they can afford, why does it have to be forced down the throats of the other residents? Why can't it just be in an area that accepts it? And I get some people are going to say, well, then you're pro-segregation because they're going to just build it in the black areas. I think that people will naturally allocate themselves to areas that they can afford and to people that will accept them. And some part of separation is natural. There will always be in a bigger city, there will always be an Italian area, in a Chinese area, in a black area, in a white area, etc. There will always be that. And that probably has less to do with racism and more to do with comfortability. And I think a lot of times when you look at things just in a perspective of race, you can conflate different motivations for things, even if they may have similar outcomes. So I'll give an example. I'm walking down the street and a cop is just a jerk to me. Now I'm black and I'm like, dude, they don't like me because I'm black. But I don't realize that a white dude walked down the same street and the cop was a jerk to him too. And the reason that the two situations are similar is because the cop is just a jerk. But I conflate the motives to what I want it to be. And so I made it race when it may not be race. It may just simply be he's a distasteful piece of crap. But I've changed it to something race because I wanted to be something bigger. I made it about me instead of about them. Now, sometimes it is race, but I think it just takes discernment to try to tell when the situation is one and when it is the other. And we can oftentimes conflate issues when it's something else. Here's one last thing that I'll point out too, is that if everybody is having a problem with how you approach them, and I had to confront this myself, everybody has a problem with how you confront them. And then you turn around and act like it's them. It's not them. Everybody, men and women, old and young, black and white, everybody got a problem with how you confront them. And you acting like it's everybody else. Maybe it's you. Where's the humility, right? And when you look at this story, I want you to read this story. I want you to look at the link in the description. And when you read this story, you will just notice how self-focused this former mayor is. How everything is about her. How she thinks all this changed and now she's just retiring and leaving the scene and she doesn't care. And the truth of the matter is that if she really thought this fight was just for the life and death of the black community, why would she ever retire? I'll put it to you this way. If I thought I had a job that was for the well-being of the community, I would never quit it. I would never quit it unless somebody else was taking over, unless I had some higher calling or something like that. Well, she's not doing that. She's retiring for her own mental health. And to me, that's selfish. So when you look at a lot of these so-called activists and things like that, just take them with a grain of salt because a lot of them is full of crap. A lot of them are just selfish self-promoters. And you really need to be careful. And as Christians, you got to use more discernment. I just see so many Christian people buying into this crap. It's tiresome. It's very tiresome to see. So open your eyes, look at this stuff, look at it with some legitimate discernment.